Claire, I don't think there's anything we can do about it, but
Everyone has Beatrice's name.
it's so funny, like I keep seeing her like taking over other people. It's like a movie, like a virus spreading. Beatrice, I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you've
thought it was
done, but
just
it's really funny.
Yeah, I have no idea why that is happening.
I thought it was just on my end, or like maybe a bug that everyone would see their name.
Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves in the chat. Even if it says your name is Beatrice Chavez, just say your actual name. We're not sure what's going on with that glitch, but all right, well, we'll begin. Thank you all so much for joining us for the SEAL Solar Eclipse Activities for Libraries FAQ webinar. So as it says on the screen here, this webinar will be recorded. So if at any time you have to jump off, or you just want to share this amazing information with other libraries, you can absolutely share it. We will have it posted on our StarNet library archived webinar page, and the link to that is also in the link bank. So we'll just jump in. My name is Claire Ratcliffe Adams. I'm an education associate at the Space Science Institute, and I'm joined today with Annie Holland, the senior education associate and the PI of SEAL. Annie, do you want to say anything about yourself?
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, everything Claire just said. But yeah, also just really excited, those of you who participated in the 2017 eclipse, to get to do this all over again. And I saw y'all in the Programming Librarian Facebook group cursing my name, and I totally get and understand that, but we'll totally make it less painful this time.
Yes, lots of lessons learned from 2017. That hopefully
that's good, Claire. Lessons learned.
Yes. We're also joined with a bunch of our other project team members. So if you're familiar with StarNet, you'll probably see some familiar names such as Stephanie Vieiro Fields, Brooks Mitchell, Beatrice Chavez, who will be in the chat dropping links. We have Amy Briones, who developed our amazing SEAL logo. A new employee, Sky, is joining us today. So yeah, a bunch of us are here to help answer your questions. But again, today is really all about you and telling you about this amazing opportunity and addressing any concerns or questions that you have for the upcoming eclipses in 2023 and 2024. So before we jump into it, I have a quick little poll question for you. So the 2023 eclipse is an annular solar eclipse. So my question to you is, what is an annular solar eclipse? Is it A, an eclipse that occurs every year? B, when the moon gets in front of the sun but is too far away in its orbit to cover the sun completely? Or C, when the sun passes between the moon and the earth? All right, I'm going to launch this poll so you can actually just click right into it for your answer. So what is an annular solar eclipse? I'll give you about 35 seconds to think about it and answer. Yes, Annie put a hint in the chat. One of these answers would potentially, would definitely, most definitely result in an apocalypse. There is also a picture of an annular eclipse on the screen, so that is a bit of a hint as well. And I'll give you about 10 more seconds to answer and then share out the results. Deborah says, would need massive SPF for one of these answers. That is, I don't know if that would save you. All right, so it looks like most of you have answered. All right, and it looks like the majority of you did get this correct. An annular eclipse is when the moon is between the Earth and the sun, but the moon's orbit is not a perfect circle. So sometimes the moon is a little bit farther away from the Earth. And so this, and a little bit farther away from the sun, depending on where it's at. So basically it is in front of the sun, but it doesn't cover it completely. So you get this beautiful ring. And I think that's actually what annular means, is ring-like. So you can kind of see the outer sides of the sun around the moon. It is definitely not when the sun passes between the moon and the Earth. Hopefully none of us will experience that because we would certainly not survive. All right. Oh. And so thank you for participating in that. I will be moving on now and hand it over to Annie to talk to you about, well, we're going to do a little reminiscing about Eclipse 2017 before we move on into our upcoming eclipses.
Definitely time for some reminiscing. Also a fun fact on Claire's trivia question. So like she said, the orbit of the sun and the moon, everything is in a perfect circle, right? But in addition to that, the moon is also slowly moving further away from the Earth. So in about, just 600 million years or so, there won't be any more total eclipses. So, I think we're fine. We'll still get ours, but 600 million years from now, we will only get annular eclipses from there on out. And then in, 5 billion years, we won't have that problem to worry about at all. So yeah, just really quick, I just wanted to remind you all of why we're here and why we're excited, even though there were some logistical issues in 2017. A little news outlet called CNN might have told the entire country that every library in the country had a limitless supply of free eclipse glasses. That might have happened. It won't be. Oops, Claire, we lost the screen. There we go. It won't be happening this time. All that will be happening this time is all of the fun parts that we remember. So just sharing real quick on this page, excuse me, some of the great pictures that we got from library friends, both on Eclipse Day and also in some of the preparation leading up to the eclipses, with kids making their indirect eclipse viewers and doing chalk art and just in general getting together and having a great time. Next slide. Oh yeah, I can't believe it was 5 years ago. I know. Oh, it feels like it just happened. So you might recall this was the path of totality back in 2017. Everyone that we worked with thought that our map of libraries would just follow that path. It'd just be you guys who were on that path that would be super excited and no one else would care. The map shows you, yeah, that's definitely not true. There's a big cluster of libraries here, but that's because there's a big cluster of people there. Other than this, right, the whole country, Alaska and Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam, people who weren't even getting the eclipse were celebrating it. It seems that Claire's screen is having the same issue.
So sorry.
It is not you, Claire. This whole Zoom meeting appears to have a poltergeist of some sort.
I am going to reshare my screen and we should not have this issue. So
excellent.
My apologies.
No worries.
It's the ghost of Eclipse Past is apparently coming.
What it is, I love it.
All right. All right, thank you. Take it away, Annie.
Thank you. So yeah, you go ahead to the next slide. So yeah, back in 2017, 2.1 million glasses were distributed through library efforts. More than 7,000 individual library locations participated. That was public library branches, bookmobiles, tribal libraries, library consortia, state libraries, military libraries, hospital public libraries. All kinds of folks were able to participate in this project last year. And a good reminder, just as far as the, eclipse is happening again. No one had, scientifically, we had plenty of warning, but no one really knew until we were much, much closer to the event how big this was going to be. And the majority of people had never experienced it before. So we had to do a lot of work, us and you guys, condensed into a really, really short time to pull off those 2017 events. And y'all did it because you're awesome. Claire, next slide. So yeah, all of the libraries who participated allowed more than 6 million people to safely view the eclipses, 2.1 million with glasses and the remainder of them with indirect viewing techniques, people sharing glasses, projection methods, all kinds of stuff. Folks in Alaska were watching on screens from the Exploratorium's live feed. And libraries who, and this is just people who actually filled out the report for me. So these numbers are widely underestimating. StarNet libraries conducted 35,000 Eclipse programs, reaching approximately 1.75 million people. Again, it was much, much more than that. About 60% of the participants, of the library participants did the survey afterwards. So imagine 40% more there, right? So again, you all are amazing. Claire, next slide. Just a couple more pictures and a lovely quote from one of the libraries that participated. I think, Andy, are you in that picture down there, or did the slide cut you off?
No, this is a picture of a symphony orchestra to which I distributed Eclipse classes before they did an astronomy concert. And so that's the orchestra showing off that they all are wearing their Eclipse glasses, which makes it hard to play music.
That was the big question. Did they leave it on while they were playing? Did they know their music that well? Claire, next slide. Oh, and the other thing, you don't have to go back, but that very bottom picture was school kids coming outside during the school day. The biggest disappointment for me personally from the last eclipse is the number of school children who it was reported were made to stay inside because teachers, parents, whomever, the teachers knew better. Principals, we'll blame them. Administrators did not think it was safe to let the kids outside. My daughter was not going to be allowed to go outside. So instead, we missed the first day of school and drove to Idaho instead. So not everyone has a parent who will take them out of school to see it. So that's another big goal for us this year, is to make sure we get the information out to your partner school districts too, so that doesn't happen again. So really quick, a word cloud that I believe Stephanie made. Hi, Stephanie. After the last eclipse, just showing when we asked folks what the best part of the eclipse activities was to them. The big words that show up are science, interest, community, space, a lot of thank yous. I think we deleted thank you because it was like filling up the whole screen. But yeah, really bringing communities together, right? Folks who didn't normally come to the library came to get Eclipse glasses, but hopefully stayed to also do a program and get a library card, those sorts of things. Claire, next. So yeah, what is next? So these three pictures here, we've got some training from our NASA at My Library program. I don't even know what kind of workshop because the screen's too small for me. I shrunk it. That is in the middle there. And then we've got a lovely picture of the 23 and 24 eclipse paths. So yeah, we've got a lot of great things planned for you. Claire, I don't know if you are able to hover over the square of awesome there. Oh, yes, I see your mouse. Yeah, square of awesome right there. Are there any libraries in this little square that get both on the call today? Anybody? No square of awesome participants. Oh, yes, you are, Crescencia. I see you. I see you from Comfort, Texas. Yes, yes, yes. There are by my count, 40 some odd libraries in that area that will get to experience full totality and annularity. Had to look up what the right word for the full annular eclipse was. It's annularity. So very exciting for you guys, but also really excited with two eclipses coming so close to each other. You know, these paths here just show the full, but the partials of each of these eclipses spread so much further out. Pretty much the whole country is getting coverage. Many of our territories and protectorates are getting coverage here. So really an opportunity for us to support you all, supporting your communities for these events. Claire, next page or slide. So a big storm just started. Apologies if you hear my thunder outside. So yeah, so here we've got the dates on here. So the annular cuts across from California down into Mexico, and then the opposite, Maine into Mexico. For the total, I might have just said those backwards, but you get the idea. That's where they stretch. And again, partial eclipses kind of everywhere in between there. This image came from both the American Astronomical Society and the Great American Eclipse folks. Wanted to point out that while our funding for this project right now is from the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, we have lots and lots and lots of people that we are collaborating with. No one is in competition with each other over these eclipse things. We are just all trying to get resources out to all of our various community partners. So Dennis, who I believe I saw on the call, hi Dennis. Dennis is helping us work with AAS. Andy is friends with all of the people who chase eclipses, both of whom, Dennis and Andy, are both part of our program here. So yeah, you'll see a lot of these other groups when you go to our webpage or when you come to our trainings. And again, those, even when they are for-profit orgs, those are just people like us committed to sharing the information, and we're working with them to get it out to most people. Claire, next slide. All right, so what specifically are we doing? What are the good parts here? Woohoo! So with funding from the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, we are able to provide this time 5 million eclipse glasses to public libraries in the US, DC, territories, and protectorates. So we have more than doubled the amount of individual glasses that we are able to send out. We are providing in-person training in each state and territory. So that will be ran in conjunction with your state library. So if we start getting closer to the eclipse and you haven't heard from a training from your state library, that means that we haven't heard about your state library's interest in a training. So call them up. Tell them you'll be the host site, tell them it's exciting and free, and why haven't you done it yet? And we'll get all of those on the calendar for y'all to attend. We'll also be providing each of the state libraries with circulating kits that they can then circulate within the state. These kits are great because they are not meant for Eclipse Day. You have way too much already going on Eclipse Day. These kits are meant to be used before the eclipse and to continue the learning around solar science after. So these are going to have things like H-alpha telescopes, right, which allow you to see the prominences and sunspots on the sun. Things like a sunspotter, which is a projection method that lets kids color the sunspots that they're seeing at the particular time that they're viewing it, and other kind of expensive but exciting things like that, things that you don't necessarily need at your library all the time because no one's gonna go look at the sun every day, but wouldn't it be great to have it for a few weeks and really get people jazzed about what's going on? So that's the intent there. We'll also be continuing to provide, just like we did in 2017 and like we've done the past 12 years, free online training related to programming activities, partnerships with subject matter experts, with students, with NASA employees, how to get these people into your library in person or online. And we also have an interactive community site, which is hosted on our StarNet website, which I think Claire will show you in just a minute. So really quick, we've got the FAQ at the end with very specific questions about the glasses and things, but really quick, before Claire shows you guys all of the resources we have, does anyone have any big questions, or do Dennis and or Andy have anything they'd like to share that I missed?
Well, I'll just, first of all, hello to all the librarians. I'm Andrew Fracknell. I'm one of the astronomers working with the great people at the Space Science Institute. And I just want to say a little bit more about what Annie said in terms of partners. What we're hoping to do is for libraries around the country we want to alert their community science organizations that libraries will be doing this great project, and to have members of those organizations volunteer to help the library. So this could include amateur astronomers, people of astronomy as a hobby, professional astronomers, science teachers, park rangers, museum staff. All of these people will be, we hope, primed and trained to contact their libraries and volunteer, not on the day of the eclipse necessarily, because they'll be doing eclipse viewing then, but before the eclipse. In all the sessions, you have to get your community ready. It would be great to have partners for you, people who could bring a telescope through which you can safely see the sun or project an image of the sun, etc. So this is a long-term goal that we have. We're going to start this fall. But if you eventually get a phone call from someone saying, I'd like to volunteer to be a partner for you, that will also be part of this project. And we'll try to make sure that if you particularly need someone, and I think if you contact the Space Science Institute, we'll try to help find people in your community. Dennis, did I say that right? Do we want to say anything else?
Yeah, you did very well. Thank you. Let me say hello. I'm Dennis Schatz. I'm in Seattle, Washington. Great to see everybody from around the country, and again, so many people from StarNet and the Space Sciences Institute. I wanted to emphasize one other thing that Annie said. We did not do a great job of getting to administrators last year. I think maybe even some library administrators might have caused some problem, but especially school administrators who kept kids from going outside to make a great teachable event. And there really is, using the right safety techniques, there has not been in 2017 and even earlier eclipses, there's not been any eye damage. So I think it's important for administrators to know that, and we'll do a special set of materials for administrators that you can share not only with your administrators, but also with school districts in your area.
Excellent. Thanks, Dennis. Great point. Oh, Deborah, thank you for clarifying. I was just Googling and I saw something about Bitcoin. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's not what Deborah was talking about. Yeah, Albuquerque Astronomical Society. So that's a great point too there. In addition to all the folks that Dennis and Andy mentioned, there are a bunch of other NASA funded and National Science Foundation funded projects that are also working to support eclipse efforts. I saw a couple of you said, oh, this close to being on the path of totality. There's one project from the Night Sky Network, which is explicitly for those of you who are not on the path of totality. So again, you don't need to go and find those folks. We will find them for you and get you in contact with the right people. Stick with us, and we've got friends, so you don't have to spend your days emailing and calling people. We, and by we, I mean Stephanie, can do that for you. And Andy provided a clarification. You do not need to be in the narrow path of totality and annularity to be eligible for getting the glasses. Absolutely. When we get down to the frequently asked questions, we will hit on that again, but we could not say it enough. Everyone gets glasses. And again, most libraries will see a partial of some sort, even if it's not for both of them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Claire. So Claire is going to share some of the existing resources we already have. I think most important is when Claire keeps developing new activities and we keep finding new partners for you, this is where those things are going to live. So all this information she's about to tell you is really important right now, and also really important as we keep adding. So Claire, take it away.
Great, thank you. So I'm actually going to stop sharing this screen and share another screen to kind of walk you through what is in that link bank. And Beatrice, if you could drop that one more time in the chat. I just want to show you where things are, how to find different specific items, and tell you a little bit about what you will get when you sign up for SEAL and sign up for the Eclipse glasses. So our main project page for this is Solar Eclipse Activities for Libraries. Oops, I'm sorry, this is not the correct one. Okay, so here's the link bank. So the main project page is starnetlibraries.org/about our project / solar eclipse activities libraries seal. It's all there in that link bank. It's one of the very first links. So you'll be taken to this page where you can learn a little bit about the dates and times of both of the eclipses. Also, there's great links in here for you to figure out where specifically your actual location will be on the path. You can use this eclipse simulator. There's one for 2023 and one for 2024, both of which are linked in the link bank. But more importantly, down here we have our resources. So this is probably where all of you should go as soon as this webinar is over, or simultaneously right now. But if you click here, you can register for free Eclipse glasses. So this will take you to a SurveyMonkey link that will give you the option for how many glasses you want to get. If you want more than what we have on here, there is a link that you can go to purchase them outside of our group, or you can just contact us and we can help you figure out how to get more glasses. But Stephanie, I can't remember the exact numbers. Do you mind sharing with the group what they'll find when they click on this link? What are the quantities of glasses they can order?
Yeah, so when you guys go and register, we'll ask a bunch of questions. The amount of glasses you can order are either 500, 1,000, or 2,000. If 500 seems a lot for your community, that's okay. We encourage you to share those with others around you. If you are part of a large library branch, like somebody who's got maybe 40 or 50 libraries within their community because they're from a bigger city or something along those lines, still fill it out. You can select like 2,000, but we will also reach out to you to see if possibly if it'll, supply allows, we'll try to see if we can get you guys a little bit more than that if 2,000 doesn't seem like enough. So don't worry if you're worried that 2,000 has to go around 50 libraries. We'll try to work with you best that we can to see if we can get you more.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. On this page, you'll also find our upcoming Eclipse trainings. We're still in the process of scheduling them, but as Annie said, we are going to all 50 states plus some of the territories. The one that's coming up is at the Arizona Library Association Conference in October. So if you're an Arizona library and you're going to the state conference, definitely come check out our training. Down here is where you can join the Eclipse community. So this is a StarNet community. It's really great to sign up for. This is where it's kind of our community of practice. So you're able to chat with each other. You'll have basically, it's kind of like Facebook where there's your feed. So you can see what other people are doing. You can see people's pictures and definitely find out when trainings are that are near you. It's also just a lot of fun and a way to build this community with each other. And that's also where we'll have tons of blogs, all kinds of information to keep you up to date with what we are developing through SEAL. This next one over here, Eclipse Activities. So a lot of these activities you might be familiar with from the 2017 activity, but if you just go to the Eclipse collection, you'll find some of the ones that were our favorites that we got really great feedback from that specifically work great in library settings. It's a pretty small collection right now. There's only 7 items currently, but we're in the process of creating a couple of new activities, including take and make activity for a shadow, this activity here, shadow tracing. It's really fun to do in person, but we just know from the pandemic that take and make kits have become pretty popular. So we're creating a take and make version of that. Also, you might have noticed from 2017 that there were so many different ways to make safe solar viewers. So we are compiling all of that into one guide. So you don't have to just go through a bunch of different options. We'll have a succinct guide for you to look at many different options of how to safely create a DIY solar viewer, which is a lot of fun. There will also be a guide about how to use solar ovens, included with a bunch of different recipes that you can do with your patrons. So new activities are in the process of being developed, and they will be here on this page. So once you do sign up, here, I'll just stop sharing again. Once you sign up for your Eclipse glasses, you are getting more than just the glasses. You will also be receiving a Eclipse guide for you that talks all about the science behind the eclipses, how the two are different, safe viewing techniques, program ideas, all kinds of other stuff. And included in that guide is a 2-pager for each eclipse. So a 2-pager that has information for the annular and a 2-pager that has information for the total eclipse. And those are things you can just print out, make copies of, and hand out to your patrons. Those are going to be available in English and Spanish, and those are meant for you to just give right to your patrons so that they have information about these events and ways that they can enjoy, these amazing events. Does anyone from the SEAL team want to add anything to that, or am I missing any resources? Yes, and Dennis put it succinctly in the chat. To repeat what I said, with your glasses, you will get an eclipse observing guide that has a wealth of information. So that's coming to you. And in addition to that, I think there are extra books and other resources coming from NASA funded agencies. So you'll be getting some goodies along with your eclipse glasses once you sign up.
And Claire, if I can add, we hope, right, that the guide and the handouts for the public will also be available electronically. So each library can put it on their website, as well as distributing physical copies of these things to your patrons. So that we hope will give you some options on how to distribute this information.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. Just to bookend what Claire just said, that felt like a lot. And we said, go to this site and that site. The biggest thing is once you are signed up for our newsletter, which you will be once you have registered, keep an eye out for those newsletters, and they will give you the most up-to-date information about where you need to go and what you need to do to learn about the new stuff. If newsletters get blocked by your server, no worries. I'm not sure if the link is in the link bank, but when we send you your email confirming that you registered, it will include the link to our archived newsletters. So you can just bookmark that link, and every time we send out a new newsletter, we will archive a PDF of it there. So if you don't get it in your email, you'll definitely still be able to access it on the website. And we do also post the links to those on Facebook and Twitter as well. We know no one gets everything or any one of those things, but between them all, we're hoping that we can get everybody. Excellent. Yeah, Sarah, that's a good question. I will get to that in a second. So Claire, why don't you go ahead to the next page? There have been some great questions in the chat. First, I am going to these are the most common questions I've got are here on this screen. So I'm just going to answer these out loud, and you guys feel free to unmute or type in the chat if you need any clarification. So big one, and that I know one of you already asked is this application just for the 2023 eclipse? Or is this my supply for 2024 as well? So this thing that you are applying for is the supply for both eclipses. So either, so definitely order now, right? There's no guarantee that if you wait until, mid 2023 that we will still have any left. So definitely order now. You can split those in half and just decide to give out half now, or half for 2023, half for 2024. You can save them all for 2024, use them all for 2023 if you won't see anything for the 2024 one. It is entirely up to you. The addendum that I add to that is certainly if you're just handing them out when people ask for them, you will run out before either eclipse happens. So a recommendation based on some feedback we got from a lot of libraries in 2017, and this is again just a recommendation, you don't have to do it this way, is to only provide glasses to people who attend eclipse related programming. So if you have a subject matter expert, if you're showing a video about the last eclipse, whatever, make those the only programs or the only times where people can pick up glasses, and that will help your supply last longer. It will also ensure One, that it is either existing patrons or you've tricked someone into attending a program. They see how awesome you are and they come back to more programs in the future. So that's one tactic for making sure that those supplies last between the two. There will also be links available, and I'm not sure that they exist yet, for discounts for educators like yourselves and teachers to buy more glasses cheaply. But this is probably it for the free ones, unless some other things happen that I'm not aware of. Next question was, we're part, and this is part of Sarah's question, we're part of a large system. Can every branch apply or just the system? So the answer is either, both, whatever. So in essence, every single branch, library, every library in the country, including bookmobiles, military libraries, hospital libraries that are open to folks, all of those you can apply individually. So great, the bookmobile says, I want 500 glasses. Branch A wants 500, branch B wants 500. That's great. What we've said in the application is that we expect, if you are asking for, say, 2,000 glasses, you are either applying on behalf of multiple branches, like, hey, this is for 3 of us, or you're a giant urban or suburban library who really needs that many glasses. But it is up to you. If you are a tiny library who knows you will serve 2,000 people, ask for 2,000 glasses. We're not saying no to anyone. We're just providing some guidance. Certainly, for systems that are experiencing employment problems, which I know never happens, if it is easier for one central person to order for all of the branch libraries in a library system, that is absolutely fine. That person should just indicate that they are doing so in their application and let me know how many glasses they actually want. If you are applying on behalf of 17 libraries, you can have more than 2,000 glasses. Just tell me what you need and I will see if we have enough for that request. The other option is just pick 2,000 in the application and then email me and we can chat about what an appropriate number would be. But either is fine. The big thing with the letters being uploaded is checking to make sure individual libraries aren't applying twice. So Sarah, for you, recommending things to your constituent libraries, the big thing is just they need to pick one. Either the system is applying as one and they're covering everybody, or each individual library in the system is applying for everybody. So yeah, whichever is more comfortable, depending on, yes, Deborah, exactly. Depending on the level of organization and the level of organizational oversight in your library culture will depend on the answer to that question, but I do not care which way you do it, so long as no one gets left out. And again, you can always email me or send me a text message. My cell phone is in my email signature. So once you've emailed me, you have the keys. You can get me whatever you want me. Next question I've got here is, I messed up. I picked 500, but really I need 1,000. What do I do? Generally speaking, we're always going to be behind on getting these registrations finalized. So as long as your error has happened within the last month, moving forward, anyone already who's registered, we haven't finalized anything, drop me an email, we'll fix your number, not a big deal. The worst thing you could do is put in a new application, because I will see the second application and just assume that you forgot you already applied and delete the one that has the correct new number in it. So don't apply again with the correct number, email me and I will fix it in the system. Oh yeah, here's one about the letter. So the application requires a letter from our director on letterhead. We don't have a director and we definitely don't have letterhead. That's okay. I got a letter written on old stationery, handwritten from a lovely library run by a volunteer, and they are getting their 500 glasses. The intent here is to make sure the person who is responsible for making decisions for your library branch knows that this is happening, so I don't get applications from, you know, let's say you're the Denver Public Library with hundreds and hundreds of employees. I don't want to get an application from all of them. That sounds like a lot of deleting I have to do. So the whole point of this process is to make sure the director is signing off on the one application. It doesn't really have to be a director. It doesn't have to be on letterhead. It doesn't even have to be typed out. Take a picture of a handwritten note and scan it and send it to me. That is fine. I just need to know that the boss or whoever you all feel is the boss knows what's going on. That's all we're doing. And the last one on here, Annie, are you going to be a jerk and put my phone number on the big map for the public like last time? That was really mean of you. So no, I will not be doing that. Sorry about that. There will still be a big map on the StarNet page that will include the dots and the library name. It will not, you can't click on it to get to the library page. They'll have to Google you, one extra step. But it definitely won't include your contact information, and we will be very clear in some sort of message on that map that being located on the map does not mean you have glasses, and it does not mean you are doing anything but participating in Eclipse programs, right? If you want to learn more, be a library patron, don't harass these poor people. So no, random folks won't be able to contact you, and we will be much more careful when CNN asks us questions to not insinuate that they should, which might have been what we did last time. There will, however, and Dennis and Andy mentioned this, be a map on the private password protected page meant just for you guys and the subject matter experts, the scientists. That map will have your email address. The only reason that email address is being used is if one of us or a NASA scientist, a college professor volunteer, a college student volunteer, a solar system ambassador, right? They're reaching out to you saying, hey, I'm local and I want to do a program. Those are the only people that will have access to your contact information. You need to let anyone else in your organization know that. That list of things I just said is laid out very clearly in the application as well, who will have access to contact information. The moral of the story there is if you are putting contact information, make sure that you are putting contact information for the person in charge of programming, if that's not you. So if you are applying on behalf of your library, you don't want to get the call from the solar system ambassador because you don't know what to do with them. Make sure that for the contact for the map, you put that other person, otherwise you'll be moving some phone calls around, but it really shouldn't be that many unless you're like in that square of awesome. Y'all might get a bunch of phone calls. I'll be calling. I require, not very much space for my tent. There'll be plenty of room for me, I'm sure. All right, so I think that's all the questions that I had pulled from before. Let us get into the chat now and see what else y'all had. Looks like some of you have already been answered. Okay, so from Sarah from Washington State Library. Any thoughts about cloudy raininess? Since the next one's in October, there's a very high chance, especially in Washington, that when we do an event, it'll be cloudy. What are the resources for that? So yeah, definitely we'll be addressing that in trainings. I think the big thing is none of you should feel like you are required to host an event on Eclipse Day. Hosting events leading up to the eclipse, preparing for folks to do this themselves, to do it at school, right? Because kids will be in school, any of those things. First off, is totally fine. So you don't have to worry necessarily about 300 people showing up to a rained out event with nothing to do at your library. You'll have plenty to do. Claire will provide you for tons of activities if that happens, but you don't have to do an event on Eclipse Day if you're worried about this happening. That's absolutely not a requirement. It's much more important to us that you're providing folks with the information to do this safely than you yourself are physically holding that event. I love the pictures, but not a requirement. If you are holding an event on that day and it's cloudy, there's a couple groups, including the Exploratorium, who will get a camera to where the eclipse is happening, and they will do everything in their power to make sure that they've got a clear view, that they're streaming on the internet. So as we get closer, we'll be sharing all of those links with you guys. Like I said, I know the folks in Alaska had to do that last time. They were planning on just looking at the sun. They just got like a little sliver, but they couldn't do that either because it was raining. So they were just watching from the Exploratorium. Kids were still having a great time. There were still a ton of activities. So I think it's really just about managing folks' expectations. So when you are doing the programs, when you are promoting programs, make sure you have that contingency explained, right? If it's rainy, come on down. We've got a giant projector with a live feed, and we'll still have an eclipse party with our moon cakes and whatever cool eclipse based food or whatever you come up with, right? Like you can have a party even if the sun and the clouds don't cooperate. So Fake Beatrice says, as a small library with a large demand for eclipses last time, I ordered 2,000. Folks were calling us for glasses. I was not prepared for that. Again, we are sorry. We are not prepared for that either. Again, that was CNN misunderstood a statement given by the project director last time, Paul Duesenberry. Paul was just like really excited, like, go to your library. They're doing these cool things. Why wouldn't you go to a library? And CNN's like, that's right. Dr. Paul Duesenberry telling you all to bang down the doors at your libraries and demand free eclipse glasses. Paul didn't say that. So yeah, definitely we will do our best to contain and control that message a little bit better this time. Again, it helps that this is round 2 and everyone, the news media, you guys, the general public knows better what to expect. The public is also already buying glasses. It's not just you guys getting prepared. There will not be the demand and the issues with supply that there were last time, except for the folks who really are last minute, and we'll be much better able to accommodate them because there won't be as many of them. Yeah, Andy?
So I want to add something to your good answer to this. So there is the issue that, as Annie mentioned, everybody in North America will see a partial eclipse, and you'll need these glasses to view the sun safely. We calculate that that's 500 million people. We have 5 million glasses to give away through libraries. You can do the math and see that that still leaves a lot of people without glasses. So I think one of the really important things that your libraries can do for your community is to encourage other institutions to get glasses, even if they have to sell them. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Let me mute now.
Let me add to that. I think one of the other things we need to really emphasize, one is not everybody needs a pair of glasses. And this happens fairly slowly. So a couple of glasses for a family of 4, you really don't need to distribute them to, so one, everybody has one. And even more important, there's lots of indirect ways of viewing it. I put something in the chat where if you take a simple colander that you have in your kitchen, you get this amazing like 50 images of a partial eclipse that are fascinating and a great way to observe the eclipse. So I don't think we should get too hung up on solar viewing glasses. There are lots of other ways for people to enjoy experiencing the eclipse.
And Dennis is absolutely right. But I still think that because the publicity will talk about glasses, there might be a need in your community for other sources besides the library. So let me finish that thought, which is that many communities, the schools ordered glasses in bulk. They had a little science budget for that and made them available to families because the annular eclipse will be on a Saturday, so it won't be a school day. Then many stores got into it. Hardware stores and other stores bought glasses in bulk, sold them for a couple of dollars, which seemed very reasonable, and even made a profit from it. And again, we'll have that address to order and the how to get the bulk discounts, et cetera, in the material we send you. And you can be a hero to your community by encouraging others to buy glasses in larger supply. The important thing, though, is that the manufacturers will be overwhelmed by the time the eclipses roll around. So it's very important for people in the know to order their glasses early.
Yes, that's such a good point. Get them. Yes, everyone, get your free ones now. But if you're ordering ones because you'll need extra, buy those right now as well. Definitely. The other thing is, again, just trying to control it on your end by only giving them during certain things or making it very clear, put it on the answering machine. Glasses will not be distributed until this program at the end of the, right? Just as much as you can do to not have to be fielding those questions, and then obviously as much as we can do to try to prevent those questions from happening in the first place. We will all work together to do that. So see, Deborah appreciated that they can apply either way. Totally understand there. Dennis talking about the glasses. Deborah, if I promise to manage the process from my office, can I forego the director letter? So what's your title, Deborah? Yes, Deborah, I trust you, but we're providing an example for everyone else. Youth services manager. Yeah, so that's totally fine, right? So in Deborah's case, if she's managing it for a bunch of different libraries and she has told them that, just indicate that in your letter, right? I've spoke with the directors at all of the branches that I work with, and they have agreed to let me do this. I don't need proof from them. Again, it's just acknowledging people have had a conversation. So that is great. I've lost where I was in the thread. There we go. Yeah, and yeah, Dennis telling Sarah there'll be tons of suggestions for if it's cloudy. Yeah, April, remember the recalled non-approved glasses from 2017. Any ideas about this possibly happening again? This is like kind of a sore point for me because a lot of people missed the eclipse for no reason because of all that happening. There ended up being no evidence that those glasses wouldn't have worked, right? Like, and it's a really quick thing to check. So I think the best answer is if you can order now early from the real manufacturers that we will all recommend to you. So American Paper Optics, Rainbow Symphony, order from your local museum who is getting them from a reputable source. That's all fine. Amazon, as long as they are saying who they're sourcing it from, is fine. If it's Amazon and it's a penny cheaper than the other ones, don't even bother. Just go pay the extra penny to get it from Rainbow Symphony or American Paper Optics, right? Like, I think the non-approved glasses last year or last time would have been fine. My biggest concern is tons of people had approved glasses, but didn't know that, right? They didn't know what to look for. They didn't realize, oh yes, actually these glasses I was handed were good. So they missed everything. So just don't put yourselves in that situation. Andy?
So let me add a little bit to what you're saying. The American Astronomical Society, which is our professional organization, has a task force on the eclipse, and there's a working group exactly about this issue. I will just, if I may, slightly correct what you said, Annie. There were some glasses coming from China that turned out not to be okay. So there was some concern that Amazon was not checking the manufacturers. They were just selling whatever their secondary sellers wanted to send. We are trying to work with Amazon this time. There's, as I say, a special subgroup working on this. If you ever feel that you need to double check on this, one of the resources that's already on the website that Space Science Institute has is the American Astronomical Society Eclipse website. They have a menu, and one of the items is eclipse safety, and there you can read summaries of what's going on, what manufacturers have been confirmed to be safe, where there are concerns. So they will update the story in real time. Again, our glasses will be coming from a reputable manufacturing company. The glasses that you can buy extra copies of from recommendations on our website will be from those companies. And you should not in any way take responsibility for glasses that are not coming from you. You can simply refer people to that safety site at the American Astronomical Society if you get patron questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a really common question you guys are going to get, and that I got, and I should have included it on my list from a lot of libraries, is, are my glasses from last time still safe? Generally speaking, if they've been kept in good shape, the answer is going to be yes, but it's really easy to check. Literally, pick them up. You don't have to look at the sun, but do you see light coming through those glasses? They're scratched and damaged. Please don't use them. You don't have to, there's no big, hard, scary process. If it looks scratched, toss it. If you hold it up to the sun and you see a pinprick, it's scratched, tossed it. Otherwise, yes, there's no reason that the glasses from last time should have expired unless they were treated poorly. All right, let's see what else we got. Deborah, yes, that's my favorite, saddest moment of 2017 is a parent complaining that the eclipse was on a Monday, which was very inconvenient for them as the kids were in school. Can't we just reschedule? No, can't reschedule the sun. Sigh. Oh, look there, Sarah asked the question. Yes, they can use those. Just check them out. Perfect. Glad we got to it. Yeah, so Dennis, yeah, Annular is on a Saturday. Total is on a Monday. April says the colander was one of the favorite things at their last eclipse viewing. I'm sure Claire's gonna have a whole webinar about it, but yeah, the colanders, looking through glasses, Dylan's making some right now, making indirect eclipse viewers out of cereal boxes and pizza boxes. There's just so many ways to do it, and honestly, it's looking at the sun and seeing a little hole bitten out of it, like, isn't the most exciting thing, but when you've made a really cool thing to do it, it gets a lot more exciting. The kids love that they've made their own viewer. Yeah, and then Dylan says the activity guides we're creating will include in-depth guides on how to create those pinhole projector eclipse viewers. Welding helmets and goggles. Deborah, such a good question. I don't remember where on the AAS site it is, but I know last time they provided the exact specifications of what type of welding goggles are safe to use to look at the eclipse. So in essence, yes, welding goggles are safe, but if they're not actual welding goggles, if they're just, safety goggles, not so good. So if they're the real welder's goggles that you can't really see through, but yes, you definitely want to look and make sure that the product number matches what is considered a safe viewing technique.
Yeah, generally what they say is number 14. The welding goggles are given a number.
Oh, thank you.
The higher the number, the safer they are. And number 14 or higher are the ones that are pretty safe.
Perfect. Thank you, Andy. Karen says laser cardboard cut out of state with hole to hand and look onto the ground. Yeah, I really liked those. Yeah, those of you who have maker spaces, get some fun stuff going there. And again, another piece that everyone doesn't have to have their own. There's also a lot of companies that if you provide them a file, will give you like really cheap 3D printed things that you can order. So lots of cool options there. All right, we have 2 minutes left, guys. We're doing awesome. Do you have any other questions for us? Oops, one more. Dylan says there's a 3D printable pinhole viewer from the Eclipse for every state from NASA. Sorry, I accidentally clicked on it. Yes, exciting link. So definitely check that one out if you don't want to come up with your own. We got a bunch of those. A bunch of libraries who participated last year sent us ones that they had got as presents, and it was very exciting for us. All right, if there are no further questions, I think we are good. So we will be posting these slides as well as the link to the transcript in our blog posts once we get that done. And Claire, remind me, will people get an email with info about that? Is that how it works? It's been a while.
I can certainly do that. I have everybody's emails, so I can send out an email with the recording. And also on that link bank, there is a link to our archived webinar. So in about 24 hours, if you go to that link, you'll see this recording as the first one.
Perfect. And then obviously we'll be sharing this in our next newsletter for folks who couldn't make it, but y'all get in there first and apply for your glasses. There is a very optimistic timeline saying you should hear from Annie, so Annie, Stephanie, Beatrice, or Sky are the 4 people who are dealing with registrations. You should hear from one of us in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. give us a month. If you haven't heard from us in a month, reach back out. We're a little behind, but get in there now.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Reach out if you have any questions and we will be in touch.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.